Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. Hope you're having a wonderful day. You are listening to or watching the Service Business Mastery podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Tersh Blissett, sitting virtually next to my co-host, Joshua Crouch. And today, we're excited because we have one of the partners of our show, Upfrog, Noah Carter and Justin Riley. They are our guests on today's episode. And we're going to talk about Refrog. And that's something, if you listen to the episode that was released, I believe it was last week. We talked a little bit about it. We actually recorded that episode. I think it was April-ish of this year.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, it was. But we waited to release that episode until they got they were ready to make a formal announcement. But now that that's happened, we're going to talk a little bit more about it. But that's not the only thing we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about several trends that they are finding in the air conditioning and plumbing and that kind of world. Justin and Noah, these are guys that we never ever talk to. So like, I don't know what they're going to say, or I don't know what their personality is or anything like that. So fingers crossed here.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't stop talking to Justin. We just talk about the same shit all the time, but it's always really good stuff. These guys have a ton of. So Noah and Justin love data. Data helps make decisions. Data shows us trends. Justin shares with me all kinds of. Unlike Tersh, he actually shares useful information when I need to hear it. So we're going to go over that today. So he's been monitoring different trends as far as maybe you can even little topic about how to find these trends yourself, but trends in the current market, what types of things people are transitioning to, how to reactivate your customer base, not just their product, but just tips and tricks and things like that for you guys to just at least start thinking about it, because you always hear the money is in the list. You've heard that forever for email marketing. Well, that's transitioned more to text messaging, and I'll let those guys talk about that once they get on here. But there's going to be a lot of really useful stuff today. So hopefully you guys get a lot of nuggets, and feel free to drop your live questions if you're on the live stream. We'll get those answered as much as we can during the show.
And I'm going to preface this with, every time we have a conversation with Justin and Noah, I take notes feverishly, but if the conversation is not recorded, I feel like I've lost things. So make sure you subscribe to this episode and replay it like 50,000 times, because there's going to be a lot of information every time you listen to it. But with that being said, let's get started with today's show.
Are you looking for valuable business advice to reach that 7-figure revenue mark? Do you want actionable tips to properly navigate through every business challenge you encounter along the way? Let Tersh Blissett and Josh Crouch be your guide in getting you to the top here at Service Business Mastery. Tune in as they sit down with world-renowned authors in business, leadership, and personal growth who share valuable insights about management, marketing, pricing, human resources, and so much more. Let their nuggets of wisdom gold guide you in owning a thriving, profitable, and ever-growing business. Here are your hosts, Tersh and Josh.
Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Hey, you let us back in.
Before we get started, Justin and Noah, I got a quick question for you. What's something invisible that you wish people could see?
No, I'll let you start.
Man, that's a tough one.
I asked Josh this right before y'all got in earlier, and I don't know, some weird things came to mind for me. So I'm gonna wait.
The trades guide says, carbon monoxide, right? So you can walk in any house and you could see it in
new furnace.
New furnace.
So for me, it's I don't know. I can't really think of one that comes to the top of the head. I guess it would be more emotional. So I'd say, like, if I could judge someone's work ethic before I could see them, that's what first thing that come to mind.
Way to go. Like you guys are just like,
you guys are way more professional than we are.
Way more professional, because
Tersh said
was
bad breath.
Bad breath.
NBO.
Wow.
Mine was
NBO.
gas.
Well, see,
Yeah.
my mind's in
gas.
business right now, so I can't get away from it. That's all. Middle of the day.
So I'm like, if I could
Oh.
just see if I ever had bad breath or if somebody else has bad breath, we can like keep our bubbles.
I don't know if I'd want to do that. Like that.
Well, it's a fair warning. It's like, all right, whoop, stop.
All right.
Time for a minute.
The green bubble walking around people.
So if anybody's ever going to
Weird.
pitch Tersh on anything, make sure you brush your teeth beforehand, because
Oh, absolutely. Or,
Either that or don't stand too close.
well, I have a personal space anyways. Like I have a bubble, and when you join my bubble, I really gotta like you, or
don't you hate close talkers? Just those people that just invade that space and you try and take a step back, and it's
okay,
like,
so when
my
I'm
God.
networking, when I network with people and I get a close talker, my goal is to take them from one side of the room to the other.
walk with me.
Well, like they're just in my face and I'm taking a step back. I take a step back.
Yeah.
And I try and see if by the time we end the conversation, we have clearly crossed the room. So if you ever walk across the room with me, just know that it's because you invaded my space.
That's great.
All sorts of nuggets today.
Anyways, now that that's out of the way,
How do you transition from that to our topic today?
so we're going to talk about customers and Refrog, and actually we have a whole list. Justin and Noah, they did a great job of saying, I think these are some good things to talk about. And we agreed. There's nothing on the list that they've sent over that we don't think is a good thing to talk about. So before we get started with that, though, huge shout out to you guys for partnering with us, and we really appreciate that. For those of you who are listening, this show is free to listen to, and really all we ask is that you share it with someone who you think may find value in this content. But there are things that cost money, and Josh and I used to pay out of our own pocket to get those things completed, but now we've partnered up with guys like Justin and Noah with Upfrog, and they really make it so that our production team can step it up a notch or two. But with that being said, can you tell everybody what Upfrog is to get started with, and how y'all kind of came about with all of this?
Man, I'll tell you. And thanks for letting us back in again. It's always good to be back and to talk to you guys.
Absolutely.
Upfrog is a growth engine, and really, when we talk about growth engine, what that means is we solve problems for home service companies, and most of the time, it's centered around customer acquisition, whether that be getting in the homes of existing customers or growing your market share in a market, and we do it in a way that is non-traditional, I guess you could say. Our marketing is not very, stock photo-ish, and we try and always have a tone, almost like a conversational tone to all of our marketing, right? We try and speak to people where they want to be spoken to, and whether that be through our online e-commerce platform for acquiring new customers on replacements, whether that's through reactivation, whether that's through recovery of existing jobs, and one of our core values is we only want to get paid when we provide success. So, we are a no retainer company. We don't charge up front. We don't believe in, participation trophies. We eat what we kill. And we feel that is because I'm a tradesman myself, and I've been there in the contracts and all those things. So, that's just kind of in our blood. That's what we do. Whether it's better or worse, I'm not sure. I think that if I were going and looking for an agency to grow my business, I would want to see results, and I'd pay them if they got results, right? Seems practical to me. So, and then we formed. Actually, we just turned 1 year old about 20 or 30 days ago. So
That's wild.
Yeah.
Cool to go from ground to where we're at right now. And Noah, he's been my right hand man the entire way, and
It's been fun.
an asset. I mean, just unbelievable.
Been fun.
That's awesome.
We've
Go ahead,
worked with quite the amount of people all around the United States, which is not something I expected to do as rapidly as we did.
Mhm.
And it's kind of interesting in the shoulder months now, working with heating contracts in northern Wisconsin area, and then still running AC down in Phoenix. So it's well versed, we'll say. So it's been quite the ride.
Yeah, and I get hit with a certain company of yours, their ad, pretty regularly because I'm in their market.
Yeah.
Anytime I see it, I usually send it over to Justin and give him the business about it. But so before we get into like reactivation, stuff like that, Justin, we had talked about this maybe a month ago. With the recession, there's a lot of different trends happening that haven't been seen in a number of years. Do you want to kind of go into that and what you're seeing?
So let's kind of start here. Like if you're a tradesman and you own a HVAC or home service business, you're probably thinking about, okay, when is the bubble coming? When is the pop coming? Right? When's the recession coming? When are my material prices going to go down a little bit? Right? Because it seems like they just keep going up. When am I going to be able to find good employees? Right? And how do I keep my guys busy in running calls every single day? And how do I do that without spending a ton of money? Like it's buckle down, tighten up time. So when we look at the market as far as nationally, and we look at trends and we look year over year, and then we look at two things, right? So we look at year over year, and then we'll look at 5-year trends, because the 5-year cycle kind of tells us, okay, so maybe this is just a little weather hiccup or this or that, right? But you can really start to see things develop when you look out 5 years at the industry, and you can see how substantial the 2020, 2021, and even into 2022 seasons were, right? For HVAC particularly, but all home services in general. When we look at particularly HVAC replacements right now nationally, we're about 3 times less search volume than we were this time last year. 3 times.
Wild. And
that's pretty substantial,
especially for 2021. I mean, I know that there was a lot of people stuck in their houses in 2020 and 2021. They wanted to do some remodeling and that type of things. But for it to be 3 times less than what it was last year, that's a pretty significant number.
Yeah. And there might be people in certain markets that like, man, it's still hot here. We're still cranking. Well, when we look nationally, we look at the, consumer whole wide. Yeah, there's spots where it's really good, and there's spots where it's really bad. And when we look at August of this year was kind of the peak, believe it or not, nationally, that we've seen. There was actually 2 peaks in August, about the first and third week in August, and then the bottom just kind of fell, which is normal, right? Like we'll start to see this turnaround. But here's what we did when we started discovering, okay, so if people aren't trying to replace their units, right? What are they looking for? Like if they're not looking for repairs, they're not looking for replacement, like what are they trying to do? Here's the fundamental thing that I think a lot of people have lost touch with, and that is saving money on utility bills. So when we look at a 5-year period of people searching for how to save money on their electric bill, it is peaking and just keeps setting new peaks. All right. So when we talk about how to intertwine this into our business, right? And we talk about fall tune-ups or furnace safety checks or things like that. Like we're so focused around, okay, the safety part of it. But if you start laying in some content around, your performance, ductwork improvements and, different things to actually help them save money, or when you're trying to pitch a new unit, bring up the energy savings more than what it used to be. Okay. Make that a front and center issue. Okay. I don't think it's going to serve right into what the consumers are searching for. And that's the key is matching the message with where people are at that time. And that's just one thing that we've really found here in the last month or so. It's become really substantial. And
well, tell me this, Justin, George Childers, he brought up a great point here. And for those who are listening to this in the live chat, George asked, just curious as to why there isn't a company out there to help with customer retention. It seems to be all about getting new customers. Is there more value in new or current customers? And Josh and I have talked about this on other episodes where it's like a leaking bucket, a bucket with a bunch of holes. I actually think we talked about this on our last episode when we talked with you guys. And it was, let's dump as much into this top of this bucket as possible. But a lot of people don't realize that you have just as many people leaking out the bottom as you do, coming in the top, even sometimes more.
Man, I mean, there's 2 main parts in that. Actually 3 questions in there. Why is there not a company that deals with customer retention? I don't know. I mean, Refrog's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
That deals exactly with that topic. And everybody goes after the new customers because it's the shiny object. Because here's what I see, and here's what I saw over this summer. Okay. And one of the reasons why we created the Refrog program, everybody knows there's a labor shortage. Everybody knows that their phones were running off the hooks all summer long. How many people out there had their techs running more than 5 calls a day, 8 calls a day, right? So they're
Like,
plowing through them,
out,
right?
yeah.
Looking at you,
Can't
Church.
find anybody that's good,
Not
right?
me. Mm-mm.
I know.
All right, now, you're just perfect.
No, far from it. But
um,
that's one thing that's kind
You're
of
just you're just my favorite punching bag.
my stickler is like 4 calls, 5 at the max, and if they've burned through 5 calls and they still need time on the day, they need to go to the house.
Yeah. So what we're seeing is that, all right, so you run a service call, and let's just hypothetically say, let's just say you got a tech named Bill. Bill goes out to the home, and it's the 3rd call of the day, and it may be a drain leak or something like that, and he goes out there and clears the drain. He finds refrigerant's low, and he quotes a leak search test and all this. But his next call, and Bill gets paid on commission, is a breaker tripping. All right. So his very next call is a breaker trip where he knows he's probably going to get a pretty good commission on it because that's going to be a sale. But he's there, okay, right now inside this home, and the wife's home. They clear the drain. The float switch goes good, but they still got a leak. They still got a refrigerant problem and all that. So he quotes them on a leak search test and all these different things, right? But Bill's worried about getting to his next call because it's a tripped breaker, because he knows it's a money call, right? What we have found is that a lot of unsold repairs, the number one thing that happened during that, why they didn't close, it's not because it was too expensive. It's not because they didn't trust the guy or this or that. They didn't understand.
Let me guess. They didn't present the options.
They didn't present the options. And the number one thing, you can still present, but did the customer comprehend what they gave them?
That's a good point. Because if you send the email after you left the driveway, you can't explain anything.
Yeah, so now you're betting on this housewife, and maybe she's maybe she's got CFC certs, and maybe she knows how to do all these tests and stuff. She's going to explain it to the husband, and the husband's going to come home and he's tired after a day of work, and then the house is cool, and he says, we'll just kick it down the road.
Yeah.
That's what ends up happening.
She has to sell it to him,
Mm-hmm.
or he has to sell it to her if it's just him, there at the house, or if the decision makers are there at the home and you didn't spend the time presenting the options to them because you're more worried about, one, you have 8 calls on the board.
There you go.
So you're burning through all these calls, or 2, you're worried about the next call that you're going to make some money, commission, or you might flip a lead and if you get a lead, flip commission or spiff or whatever. One thing I'd like to add though, too, about George's question, and y'all hit on this too, talk about this, because being that you have background in the trades too, so you're not a quote unquote marketing company that's never got your boots dirty, I guess is the best way to say it. I was thinking about this, and that is that we might need new leads because we just suck at service. And we are burning through all of our clients, and we need to take a internal look at, would you revisit that client? Would you revisit your company as a client?
Yeah. Well, reputation is a big part of it, like follow up and staying in touch with your customer after. A lot of people, heat of the summer, they forgot about them, right? So 6 weeks later, maybe you don't have time. All right, your board still might be full if you're in some of the hotter states, and you're not, following back up with them. They're still seeing stuff around town. You might have missed, the tech might have missed in one room, that one they didn't talk about because it was too expensive or something, and now they have a sour taste in their mouth. If you follow up this customer, there might be more work there, as well as, a review, multiple things, right? So,
or you can just learn the mistakes that you made so you can improve
exactly.
them.
The feedback is the best part. So
what's your
Leapfrog if everybody did a perfect job?
Well, that's what I was going to say. What is Noah talking about here whenever he's talking about this engagement with the client?
Okay,
because this is a service that you offer.
Yeah, so it's really, we deal with in our Leapfrog platform, right? Number one, it is the the easiest, fastest, and lowest cost way to get into consumers' houses immediately. I don't care if you're a one truck company or a 100 truck company. There is no other medium that you can engage that can get you into people's homes faster at a lower cost. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. Like there's no other that I've seen. Okay, and there's 4 parts to it. We call it the 4 R's. So there's reactivation, there's recovery, there's reputation, and there's relationship. All right. So each of those are broken down into separate pieces. Reactivation is when you want to get back into somebody's home that maybe you haven't been there in a while. 5-year-old customer, tune-ups, furnace checks, plumbing drain check, video check. You can do duct cleaning. You can do any IAQ check, any of those. That's reactivation. Recovery is we segment down your repair leads and your replacement leads. And then we do a cadence to follow up. And it's not just following up. Like anybody can send a text message like, yeah, I call my guys, I do this and that. No, there's a lot more into it, because what we've done with our system is there are benchmarks and lead scoring based upon consumer actions and inactions, which then change the way we market to them, right? Because if you can't just keep hitting somebody with the same text and expect them to do that. So there's little, I guess you could call them triggers that happen, right? And that changes the flow, and it allows you to set up these different campaigns to run and recover this work that, the majority of the people say, we've been meaning to call you guys back. And we always lead with always, we're just trying to get some feedback on how our service was. I saw we left an estimate there, back in May of this year. Do you mind if I ask you a question or two? We always ask for deference. We don't just go out, hey, did you want to buy this job?
So you're not, you're not just saying, hey, I got a special offer for you. Because
people are just like,
who cares? Yeah. Like if it's not relevant to me, I don't care about your special offer.
Yeah.
It's not relevant to me at that point. But what you're saying, and just to clarify, is you are opening up a conversation with people you've worked with in the past in a very, very kind of low barrier entry way, where it's just like, hey, this is so-and-so. I just wanted to see how your service was with us.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask 2 questions on this. First off, what happens if the majority of the responses are really bad?
Yeah. So we've had that actually. We had a, I'm not going to name names, but we did have one contractor that it was
good, because I don't know which button's the bleep button over here.
It was very, very less than stellar. Here's the thing I do know. It was still ROI positive, but what we do, right? So whenever we start these, we always take the temperature, right? We segment out the bad. We don't want to ever send them a message again, because they really ain't going to buy from you because they hate you, right? They do. So we're tagging those. We're removing them from listed. We're cleaning the data, right? And this thing builds off of itself over time. But when you ask permission to ask a question about how the service was, because it's all about them. Yeah. When you try to sell them something, it's about me and my company. No, when you ask them, do you mind if I, and majority of the time, people will tell you. And then you can ask, sure. It's only one or 2 questions. Number one is did you understand what the tech gave you? And the second answer is, have you gotten it repaired yet?
Yep.
So
that's a great way to.
That's a perfect question though, because here's my thing with that question. What happens if they have not gotten it repaired? It's been a year, and so now they have the mindset of, you were trying to sell me something that wasn't really going to break, or wasn't. I didn't really need it. Does that make sense?
Hard to fix the problem in the beginning.
Well, this is a great
fact, right?
So, let me give an example. Like a capacitor is out of range. It's still working. It's out of manufacturer's specs. It hasn't broken yet. It was recommended to repair it because it's going to fail at some point because it's outside of manufacturer's specs. These are great opportunities, at least in my opinion, to continue the education process about why those things were left behind, and maybe clean up because again, Tersh, you always say it, confused mind doesn't buy.
Yep. Says no.
And this is a great opportunity to find out if they're confused. Do they not understand the options? And it just time
finding
happened,
a bunch of
things
techs
happen, and then just moved on.
financing. A bunch of techs. You know, it's one thing to get a tech to sell. It's another thing to get a tech to run multiple financing applications if a consumer has a turn down. So we're finding that, you know, coming back with an offer as far as a low monthly payment and a way to pay for it over time is extremely effective as well.
Are you finding that even on repairs?
Yeah.
Is it, so just to ask about that, because that's not something I always love the idea over a certain dollar figure. I didn't get.
We can finance all the way down to $300.
Well, I didn't get buy-in when I was doing that, but I always love the idea, especially for like IQ. Some of this other stuff, people want it. They're like, I can't pay that up front today. I don't want to put it on a card. I don't want to pay it in cash or whatever.
How in depth is that conversation though in the text messaging platform? Because I love my girls to death in the office. I don't want to do their job, but there's times where they can't have that conversation because they don't understand it because they've never been through quote unquote finance training. How in depth is that conversation, or is there an automation side of things when it comes to that?
No, there's a live human in the back office of a finance company that we dealt with that has 30 years in the finance space. So simply the customer's transferred over to them. Okay. He goes through the financing offers that are available and handles all the paperwork and says, hey, it's time to go install it.
Is that a first second look type scenario?
100% Spectrum. It's about 54 banks that have come together to build this almost like a Quicken Loans type deal.
Okay. That's a good
point. Basically you go through and you select which deals you want to offer through your matrix and your rate sheet. And
is it kind of like when you go buy a car and they have their buying group? Is it kind of the same thing? They'll give you all the offers and the different lenders and stuff like that, and you kind of choose what offer and term you want.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, guys and girls, everybody buys monthly payments.
Yeah.
They say they want these 0% deals and things like that. But look, here's the thing. 0% deals, the term is fairly short compared to some of these longer term financing things that we have now.
Yeah. I mean, we got some
$20,000-$30,000 installs get awfully expensive at 0% for 5 years.
Yeah. We got some 10-year deals out there. Well, okay.
I saw somebody just real quick. I think they were doing like 15-year deals, and I my jaw almost dropped. No, not 0%.
No.
It was with like a 9.99, and I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, holy shit, this is like almost buying a house.
You're gonna, the air conditioning unit is gonna be gone, and you're still gonna be paying for it.
I know. I mean, I guess if you're getting like all the you can really package that stuff up into something special. But 15 years, I'm like,
man,
where I live now,
this close to the coast,
there's no way the air conditioners lasting 15 years.
No way. There's
literally nonstop.
The salt is just going to eat everything away here.
Yeah.
So I want to transition into another question for those who are listening, and they're a relatively green business, because your business model sounds very appealing. Jessica Egan even mentioned that she liked the idea of it being a non-retainer company, and that's going to be very appealing for your businesses that are just starting out. The downside is that when your business is really new, like 6 months old, you might not have that same clientele to rehash, to refrog,
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, starting a business, is very difficult, and it's very, very difficult to do that. And that's why, we do offer other programs as far as paid media to acquire those, because the number one thing in the first couple of years is you need to get customers. All right. And I see a lot of these young entrepreneurs out there, and they're growing and they're building these businesses. And sometimes I question it in my mind, because they turn people away like it's 1 mile over the radius, and they're in year one of their business, and it's a replacement. And
you got to hustle.
Dude, I mean, it's like, if you're not hungry, you are not going to get fed. And the foundation that you build in that first year or two is going to set the direction and angle of your business growth.
Don't get me wrong. I'm all about learning when to say no, because I've said yes too many times, and it has burnt me, because I knew that the client was going to be a very bad fit for us, but it wasn't due to a radius issue. It was due to they were not a good fit from the get go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Most of I hear it is low margin jobs, right? There's always this, on the internet, there's beat your chest, 70% gross profit. Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. And you're going to grow like crazy if you can maintain that. The problem is getting there. And believe it or not, as a real small business, you're lean and mean. You can acquire some customers, and the best thing you need to do is get reviews and really start to build a customer base and a name for yourself. Right. And the only way you do that is by doing good work. And if you never do any work, you get, and then transversely, if you start doing a bunch of cheap work, you get locked in this habit.
Yeah.
As your overhead starts to grow. So
all your reviews say, great work, cheap.
Yeah. Like, best price around, oh, you're getting them all,
so,
it's tough, man. Growing a service business in 2022 is and especially into 2023 is going to be a difficult thing. There's a lot of headwinds. There just is. If
you're running 5 calls a day and you're running them if you have one person and running 5 calls a day, I'm not saying that you should be running that many. You're going to hit 1,200 people. And if you could get half of those people leaving your review, hopefully you don't have a lot of them that are callbacks. Fingers crossed that you have very few callbacks. So if you had 600 reviews being left, I mean, that's massive.
Absolutely. That's gigantic.
So I got a question for Justin and Noah. We talked briefly, and it's just going to go back to like the reactivation part, because all too often, because obviously our company too is we're generating new leads or having existing customers find them on the web, but all too often customer gets a job done, invoice is signed, we don't talk to them again. Maybe we send them a couple follow-up emails or whatever, just basic stuff. But so you had that contractor that had things that were not very positive said about them. What do you guys, so as an opinion, what do you guys, is that stuff that, I know you clean up the data and obviously you don't want to keep sending them texts, but does that contractor use that as a learning experience to find out where their service sucks? Gosh, or they're just like, well, I'll move on to new customers.
Gosh, I hope so. It was actually 2 of them that were that way. One was an acquired business that they had a list, right, from an existing client base. So it wasn't necessarily theirs. Okay. The other was, and they went through a rebrand, believe it or not.
Okay.
Okay. Different name. And what happened is that the consumers didn't recognize the old brand. Who are you?
Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Right. So, it was just very awkward. Now, I would say it was 25 to 30% of their customer base, even more maybe. But they definitely, and I let people know, like, when you take the pulse and you get people on a text message, you're going to find out instantly, 100% how you're doing.
Good, bad, and
they're
ugly.
going to let you know.
So Justin, I never told you a story. So I was at Professional Services, and this was 3 or 4 years ago now, and I wanted to send out a blast to our customer base. I don't even remember what it was. I think it was a tune-up thing or something. The comments that come out in text message are much more colorful than you'll ever get in an email.
Oh yeah,
I got a lot of like "F you," "Don't ever text me again."
Ever get any pictures back?
And again, this was like, no, I did not get any pictures back. Thank God, I didn't get like, hey, like your dead cat's gonna be on the door or something like that. But
or worse,
it can get colorful, and it's granted we hate political stuff. Political has actually kind of opened the door for businesses like us to text, because they've been doing it for 2 or 3 election cycles now. Yeah. But I love what you guys, and then we always talk about this, is just talking to your customer base, because you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't ask the questions, you'll never find the answers. And
you know what I find? My absolute favorite, like, I don't even have to need the product, but if I get sucked into an ad that I didn't know was an ad, then all of a sudden I'm instantly more interested in whatever it is they have to offer. You know what I mean? It's like, okay,
marketers love that.
More of a conversation, because we are, as a consumer, we're professionals at picking out ads. like TikTok, Instagram, all of that, LinkedIn, the sponsored posts, we're like, I'm so bad that on TikTok, if it's even, it could be a good topic, but if I see sponsored at the bottom, I'm like, next. So like, if I get to a topic that is like just pulling me in, and then I'm like, oh crap, this is an ad, then I'm like, okay, whatever this is that they have to offer.
So I'm the same way.
I'm gonna spend
it's all
more time
about
with
philosophical belief, right? When you're dealing with social media, and the reason why a lot of media companies out there struggle with social media, whether it be TikTok, whether it be Instagram, whether it be any of them, right, is that they try and advertise like direct mail that they do digitally in social media, right? So philosophical belief means we need to put a statement out there that the user, when they roll by, says either hell yeah, or man, I wish it was like that. Or, we have to invoke some sort of emotion inside of the user that we're trying to do. And
Don't you get polarized if you do that? Like,
that's the whole point.
Okay, so how do you know if the person that you're targeting wants to hear that, or they want to hear the other end of that?
We try not to polarize that bad.
I get that. It's
I mean, we are, disruptive to some degree in the industry with our online pricing. That's where we get the most feedback, and the negative feedback, right? But what we've found is that we're not so worried about the negative feedback from the other contractors, because the customers comment that they love it and they use it. So really, who's your audience, right? And over time, you can start to scrub those out. And customers are not stupid. They can read comments and know that, this guy works for an HVAC company, right? And actually, no press is bad press to some degree with engagement metrics. So, it does actually perform better. If you got a thick skin and you run a controversial ad and it gets 1 million comments, you will see the lowest lead cost you've ever seen in your life.
So what I hear you saying is that leave the negative comments on a Facebook post.
It depends. Like, we've got filters and things like that we use to help manage it, because some of them are just nasty and vile.
Yeah.
And they're spam and things like that. But yeah, I think there should be open debate.
That's a good point.
I would say as long, because I've seen those ads, and I see I always read through them, because I'm always like, okay, who's the HVAC contractor that's going to comment? And then who's the homeowner? And you can always tell the difference between, I'm interested, this would be great. And then I see the HVAC contractor, that'll never work. How can you size this? How can you do that?
Yeah, and here's a real good thing, guys. If you're in the HVAC or plumbing or any of those things, and you're on social media and you see ads from another company, and you want to find out what ad is working and what ad is not, if there are 0 comments, 0 likes, and 0 things on it, I promise you that ad is not working. Most of the time, they're coupon ads. Most of the time, there's some special offer. Like, people can spot that. You don't put billboards inside Facebook ads, all right? You just don't. Okay.
Or radio commercials. I literally listened to a radio commercial on TikTok the other day, and I'm like, is this going to get somewhere? Or like, is this going anywhere? Or like, I knew it was going to transition into something amazing, and it never did. It stayed a radio commercial.
Here's how all of them work. The longer a user, as in somebody with a phone or computer, stays on a social media platform, the more ads that medium can serve them. So what they do, okay, is if you have no comments, they will slowly derate your page, because they know it's turning people off. So you leave the platform. That's not good for Mark Zuckerberg and all the other people that own these platforms, okay? So if you're not getting any engagement, there's some major issues, and I promise you, your ad is going to be demoted, and it's going to be more expensive, because Facebook has to make up for the difference in lost revenue from you having people jut off, I hate this platform.
Mm-hmm. That makes perfect sense.
It's business.
Jordan Harrison brings up a great point here in the live chat. He said that I delete comment from competitors who drop their link in the comments. Most of the time. Dude, there is nothing that fires me up more than that. I'm like, the audacity of this individual to put their links.
All right, big secret.
I have a competitor that whenever and this is just, this person knows that they're a piece of crap. They will every person that comments on the post, they will DM that person to try and get them, because their posts suck.
Yep.
And so they get it where they are engaging with my client list, and they don't know that most of my clients are ride or die, and they immediately will screenshot that crap and send it to me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to woosah this one
Here's
out.
some real useful tips for everybody that's out there. Okay. Never delete a comment. Okay. Always hide a comment. Now, number 2, go into your page setting. There is a moderation that you can do, and you can put in phrases and keywords that will automatically hide comments, right? So how about HTTPS, not allowing any links? If it contains that, it hides the comment. All right. Now, you won't be able to post your own comments. Then if you have a guy that just continues to DM people, okay, call your friends, have them comment on your ad that you're looking for an air conditioner. Find out who he is, and you'll find out who's DMing you. And it's a real thing. It's a real problem with people doing that. But yeah, using the hide comment section in your page. So if you go over to your Facebook page and settings on the left-hand side, you'll find an area where you can put in a profanity moderation, as well as you can put in keywords and terms and things like that, that will automatically hide something, because the reality is.
So let me play devil's advocate for that one, Justin, because I have seen this in the past where someone has said, and I've even done this where it'll say like 2 comments, and you click on it and there's nothing there. At first, I just assumed that it was somebody that I had blocked in the past, or somebody who's blocked me in the past. And then I read a post where people were hiding the comments. And so then they were like, oh, well, that makes it look like you're hiding something.
All you do is, as the company, you comment on your own thing. Thank you so much for those comments, but spam will not be tolerated in our business. Period. End of sentence. Post it in there. So now, right, everybody knows there's spam, right? So now you're building a case for it.
There's multiple ways, but
but it's a real thing, and it's getting worse.
That's normally Facebook moderation, like the same way they hide likes, like only the creator can see the amount of likes on this post. It's just the movement. It is what it is. That's how they don't want you to feel the pressure. That's what was released about it anyway.
So with trends and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
they say. Exactly. I said it with a grain of salt.
We've talked about trends. Obviously, Facebook still works well. You guys use it a lot. What do you guys see as trends for social media as far as ad mediums and platforms, things like that? Is YouTube Shorts, is that becoming an ad platform?
No,
I know YouTube has a platform, but not for, I don't think they have it for Shorts.
For me, the YouTube platform, I've done extensive, there's some retargeting that can be done there, but most of the time, the consumers that come from that platform as a whole are the people that are going to challenge you on the price of a capacitor and do it themselves. Just is what it is. It's a great targeting medium. It's a great retargeting medium, but I would not use that as a primary source of people, just because the users that generally consume that sort of stuff that I've found, maybe somebody else has found better luck. Most of the people pushing that are people that are going to charge you to create the videos, right? In that sort of thing, in that space. And that's great. Content is good, and building links off of that is great, but that wouldn't be, I'm a performance marketer. I'm not a huge brand building guy. There's much better people out there that can do that. I'm the guy that cuts through that says, hey, I'm going to get you this for this spend. Like that. Yeah. That's my type of style of marketing. And there are other people that say, hey, I need $100,000 this year. We're going to advertise and we're going to grow your brand.
So tell me this, what are your thoughts on, and I know you just said you're not a brand builder per se. What are your thoughts on the YouTube video showing up in the carousel in the searches as far as organic goes? Because there are times where like our videos have shown up at the top of the, and that's not something you can even pay for. So what are your thoughts on that? And should you put forth effort in that, or is there other low-hanging fruit you should put more effort into?
I think that it definitely has a part. Okay. And maybe it's on the very top funnel. I don't think it's transactional. Okay. It's either on the very top or on the very bottom. like you're just pounding somebody because they're seeing it 10 other times and building trust, right?
Gotcha.
I don't think it's the point where people like, go and like sign up for a lead. Like, okay, it works for B2B, it works for education, it works for a ton of how-to informational queries. So if you're trying to sell a how-to, I think it's perfect. Okay. Transactional, it's more informational and how-to. That is the category that it kind of was created for. It's not entertainment.
And so that would be more of creating your authority in the market. So if they happen to go to Google and search the term and you happen to be the one that pops up, then they're like, okay, well, this person came here, they said X, Y, and Z. Now here's a bunch of videos backing that up.
The Discover YouTube network and some of these shorts, the good thing about them is they do have a very wide inventory. Okay. So you're going to get shown in a lot of places. So as you grow as a company and you will outgrow mediums, right? There's just not enough space that you can buy to. So GDN and YouTube shorts and all these different places. Yeah. They're big, and you can get more impressions if that's the goal. Right. And it all depends about the objective of the company, really. What do they really want to do? They want to grow their brand, or do they want to grow? Like, do I need leads? There's a difference. There's a lag in the brand building. It ain't gonna happen instantly, and it's an investment. And once you've got it, it's wonderful. It makes performance marketing a breeze when you have a brand.
Yeah.
All right. It really does, because you can leverage that
as long as it's a good brand.
Yeah.
Not a bad one.
So
yeah,
we're talking about YouTube. Obviously, it's more, and that's kind of what I figured, and that's what I've used it for in the past to teach and educate other people. Use it as a blog thing to bring in mostly top of the funnel, but so like TikTok. I know you've experimented with TikTok. I know their ad platform is not nearly as sophisticated as Facebook, but have you seen any changes in that? Over the last
to be determined. We're still working in there, in that space. I know that CPMs are lower. I know we can reach audience, and the segmentation and the data is getting better and better.
For those who are listening and don't know what CPM is,
so that's cost per 1,000 impressions. So how much does it cost me to serve 1,000 people, or reach impression, same kind of thing. Reach.
So why doesn't it CPT?
Because it's melee. It's a fancy word. The medium buying gods.
I'm gonna get you one of these questions. I'm gonna stump you.
Good luck.
But no, I think that it's important. Like, I think that TikTok is look. There's a lot of people on it. And figuring out, like, the biggest thing in TikTok is do you want your brand showing up to some of the stuff that's on TikTok?
That's a good point. That is a good point.
But there are people. I don't know. I've seen my TikTok, and it's
like there are people who are killing it on TikTok. Leslie Harpel,
she does.
They're just really doing a great job with it. And Julie and I, my wife, we have conversations constantly. We're like, we should do that. We should TikTok that. Ours would be more interesting than that one. But then we just never do it, and it's
I think
very
anybody can master any medium. Like, do I think YouTube Shorts can work? Yeah. If you sit down, you hone in, and you do it over and over and over and over and become a master. What I see is people jump from thing to thing to thing. Pick a channel.
Oh, shiny object.
Master it. Yeah, and really understand how it works for your business and refine it. Then once you got it, then you can go and add another channel.
That's exactly the advice. We had Brendan Kane on here. He's written a couple books about how to gain 1 million followers in like 30 days and stuff like that. That was the exact advice he gave on the show, was to pick a medium, dominate that medium before you move on to something else. You can still post your stuff other places.
I think that he pretty much was to the belief of, and I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but I believe this is what he said on that interview, was almost ignore the other mediums. Like Josh said, you could post it. But
because it can infect you with the way, like, you don't talk the same on Facebook that you talk on TikTok or on YouTube, right? So when you let all these different voices, you try and do stuff like the direct mail guys, that when everything turned digital, now they tried to do digital as direct mail, and it never worked and still won't, and they still try to, but it just doesn't work because it's a different medium. So
all right, so how about this? What about Twitter?
I have messed with Twitter. Yeah. And one of the things about Twitter, and I haven't been back in a little while, did a lot of testing there. It is fast. Man, you want to run ads and get some impressions? Boy, let me tell you something. You can either burn some money really quick or you can get some leads really quick. Twitter on the local geo level, I would not suggest. One I have gotten some traction in is Reddit, if you want to talk about some different ones that are out there.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's a good
so
point.
there's a lot of subreddits for communities. Yep. Everybody forgets about Reddit. It's huge. Okay, so you can do some advertising in there. It's got some pretty good targeting. So there's all sorts of little micro ones you can do.
And was it Quora?
Yeah, you want those for backlinks.
Backlinks. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a Ty Branneman asked a question, and I was going to wait until it could fit in here, but it's really not. So I'm going to change up the topic a little bit.
Let her rip.
Because the question that he asked was it was part of something we were talking about earlier, but
this is one of the repair options in the home. I think he brought this question up.
Your opinion on what Ty says here. By the way, Ty is an amazing educator. If you've never taken one of Ty's classes, you got to do it. He travels the whole country educating technicians, and he puts things he explains things very well. He will be at the HVAC School Symposium, which is in January in Orlando at Brian Orr's place at Kalos HVAC School podcast area. But every time I sit down and listen to and watch Ty, I record whatever he says, because it's something that I might know everything about, or I would never say I know everything. I know a lot of stuff about, but he just explains it in a completely different way. But what he says here is, why are we still writing invoices? Why not make a less than 5-minute video explaining what needs to be done, show the problems visually? They can see it even if they are not there. Okay, so as a remarketing person, what's your thoughts on this video? Because I agree with what Ty's saying in the presentation.
If somebody came to us and they had this technology and they were doing it in their company, I'd love them, because it's a fantastic idea. I think I hired a sales rep back when I was running the sales team, and he actually videoed every single one of his calls, and he gave the customer a copy of that video so they could have it. I thought it was a wonderful idea. Here's the problems we ran into then was that video storage and would really compound itself over time. And not all techs think that they're the prettiest guy in the world.
Put a camera in front of, put a microphone in front of somebody and listen to them stutter. I know that's what that's the whole reason why I started podcasting. I have a speech impediment. And if you ever hear me pause for a period of time, it's because I am mentally overcoming that speech impediment. And that's the whole reason I got into podcasting.
Wow.
It was a way for me to force myself through this situation. And
I like it.
I put a camera in front of my guys and they're like, no, Tersh, that is not me. You do cameras.
Yeah.
I will fix equipment. I was like, touche, man, touche. But
I get
Ty was saying too.
If you've got a tech that wants to run with it, I think he would have a higher closing rate than anybody. Personally, I think that anything you can do, number one, that's different than everybody else is going to win. Number two, it's helpful. I mean, why not, right?
I don't see a negative side to it other than if they have access to it and they show it to a competitor. But even then, it's just going to prove that the competitor didn't find the things that they found.
Well, I think there's a way to do that. You obviously need a video editor, right? You're not going to just run this one long thing where you're showing every little piece of this, but it's like, hey, we're going to do this, then we're going to do this. Like, break it down into like, it can be even like a 1-minute video. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're looking for. This is how we're going to fix it. Leave it real short. So that way you're not creating a bunch of 10-minute or 5-10-minute videos that take up a lot of storage.
Have you ever watched a technician's video? Man, you want to see
I'm sure it's
ramble?
Long. I'm sure.
And then you're going to see that where he sets it down
because they're spilling all their knowledge,
and then it's going to come back up, and then
I love watching technician videos, but I will tell you,
do not want you to videotape in their home. It is a violation.
What I was going to say, Justin and Tersh and Noah, was this: if you guys have one system set, or even do it in your own house, and you can go through the problem and the solution in your own house. You don't have to use somebody else's house to educate them.
Well, so here's what we do. So
you're
we
thinking
do
more of like, yeah, okay.
We do a debrief. Whenever we do a debrief, because we do call by call management, and on the debrief, one of the questions is, what's one question the client asks you? And it can be pertaining to the job or not necessarily pertaining to the job. And we'll get questions like, how do you reset the thermostat? Or how do I change the air filter? And so then we just have a couple, a list of videos that we create, and then we post them up on the YouTube channel. And hopefully if that question's asked again, they can say, here's the link to the video.
Man, I often thought about creating a knowledge base when I had my business was just a knowledge base for consumers, right? More like a support center, and to lower the burden, especially in after hours and just the stupid stuff, right? The stuff that eats up your time and money, but where a searchable database that they could go to. And I think video content's great, as far as
what database would you recommend for something like that? Because something like what Josh and I have talked about, I don't know that that's feasible for a contractor.
I don't either. I mean, getting your guys even to show up on time is a hard thing sometimes.
So Company Cam, I believe Company Cam, who is a partner of the show, can do that to an extent, but I
don't think they have the resource to like make it searchable from like a customer's perspective. I think you can search jobs and video and content from the contractor's
you just have to tag the
perspective.
videos, and just build a little search algorithm on top to pull the tags.
I mean, honestly, as a simple way, not simple, because then you take a video, right? You make the video with a frequently asked question, transcribe it, clean it up a little bit, so you don't have to be a writer, right? And that's what I did for a couple of my videos that I used on YouTube, turn it into a blog. It's real easy. It's really not hard. Get Sonics or whatever, rev.com, transcribe it, make it a blog post, and then add a search feature to your website, something like that. Or you can put it into a chat bot and be like, hey, here's some frequently, whatever, search whatever you want. If someone says change filter, that keyword can trigger the article. That's what a lot of these so we're using HubSpot as a CRM right now. If I type in a word, it sends me to a help article. It's all keyword based. And a lot of big companies are going to that way because they don't have the people to support
and talk about the local
question.
Benefit of you answering these queries and them coming from direct traffic directly to your website back to visit this. I mean, that's the stuff that really separates you from other people. It's traffic that would be coming directly to their existing customers. So it's second, third, fourth visit. That's the stuff that can push you over the edge. So, I mean, having on the site would be awesome.
George mentions that Company Cam can provide a report directly to the customer as a report, short videos too. I think that's amazing for that particular client.
It's not something that will help in.
It's not every customer,
but that one customer that. So we were talking about the situation where the husband or wife is home and then they have to resell the repair to their significant other. That could be a very possible use case where it's like, hey, here's a video of explaining it. I mean, send this to your husband or wife.
Yeah. And it's a CYA thing a lot of times too.
Yeah, absolutely.
With video. I mean, unfortunately we live in such a litigious world that, it's nasty sometimes.
And okay, so I'm not going to go off on this tangent, but I will tell you that one of the things that I tell my service guys is treat every invoice as if I'm your lawyer and I have to present your defense just based off of your invoice. You can't say any of the he said, she said, no notes in your CRM, just your invoice. Yeah. And that changes up a lot of times. Exactly. CYA for sure.
Yeah. I find that addendums work much better than trying to teach a tech to write stuff like that.
That's true.
A secondary form to cover those things at a broad scope with initials.
I actually got in trouble for, I will tell you, and this is not legal advice for anybody. I got in trouble for the way that I worded water leaks. And we had a scam artist who came in, knew exactly what they were doing and knew how to scam people into getting all new hardwood floors throughout their house, even though the water leak was their fault, and they neglected it for 30 days before calling us. But the way that our addendum was worded, it opened us up to that 30-day grace period, because it said that we would warranty these calls for 30 days.
Wow.
And so our lawyer was actually like,
Kind
change that wording. But yeah,
I think that if I want to touch just on one other thing as we kind of get towards this thing, there's a lot of text platforms that are out there. Everybody's kind of getting back into the texting and things like that. One thing to be very, very, very important is to be a verified A to P sender. Okay.
Can you explain what that is?
Yeah. So there have been the carriers, right, of AT&T, Verizon, all these big carriers that are out there, right? They are trying to combat spam. So there's TCPA laws, right? That's the communication laws through this channel of SMS and MMS, right? To be a sender that is a verified sender means that we are following the laws, and we actually have our stuff will never show up as spam likely. Okay. So, because we follow those laws and we stay within compliance of that. And I believe one of the podcasts I watched a while ago, listened to, I was on a flight last week, and the guy was talking about it as well, you know, how important that is. And I see a bunch of these different platforms, and what happens is these contractors go out there and they blast everybody at first. And if you get just like email deliverability, like if you spam people, okay, they're going to report you, and now your phone number is dead. Okay, you will get banned from Twilio and the other communicational platforms because you don't comply. And there's nothing worse than sending out a bunch of texts and it shows up as spam likely.
Yeah,
like, that's
horrible. We had some from our CRM actually do that. A client,
a lot of big CRMs actually have that issue,
and
because that's
we
the
arrived on
do.
site. Well, we arrived on site, and they were like, I just want to let you know that it told me that you were spam whenever you were texting us in. I was like, oh, come on.
Yeah. So I think with our current, you know, right now we can send, 2.1 million text messages a day is our legal limit currently right now at where we're at. So the scale.
Where are you at with sending out text messages?
Where are we at currently?
Yeah.
1.9
no,
we're not sending 2 million. I can tell you that.
that would be insane.
Because our goal,
wild.
Right? Our goal, what we look at is capacity of somebody. So say somebody comes say, hey, I got a customer base of 5,000 people, right? I need to gap this between October and December. Can you help me? Great. So we'll take those 5,000 customers, right? And we'll drip a campaign out during peak hours. Okay. Please, guys and girls, do not be sending text messages out at 8 a.m. in the morning. All right. You might as well just throw it away. Okay. There are peak hours during the day. Anything after 2 to 3 p.m., 4, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. There it is. That's your ideal time. Okay. That's when you really want to send. You don't want to send it out while they're at work. Nobody's going to respond to you. Okay. And it's going to be an annoyance. So you want to drip these things out over time. And we measure the amount of text that they have available and open spots that they have. Okay. And it's very important to throttle it. And a lot of times it catches up because there's a whole sequence that these users go through over time. So the time you get a couple hundred people in it, man, you got quite a few things going on. And oftentimes we just have pause, give them a break.
Yeah.
Catch up, start it over again. But we aren't talking about text campaigns like everybody in the office with a meeting morning on Monday. You know, we're going to text our whole base and we're going to go out. That's not it. I'm getting feedback.
What did you hit?
I didn't hit a single thing.
It's always the old guys, man.
You know, I was waiting.
Oh no, he didn't.
I told you I would bring it up during the show, and I did. I waited.
Yeah, you got it on the very bottom of the sheet. I see it down there. Tell him he's old.
I'm gonna get a nasty message later.
That's the understanding of the channel and how do you use the channel to help your business over time? Plug the holes.
Yeah, get better at doing what you're doing.
Stop looking for the shiny object that is going to promise you this, that, and the other thing. Like, there's so many problems you could fix just in your own business, especially this time of year. It's almost October. Even here in Arizona, the mornings are a little cooler now. Like, it's not the same demand. And
guess what? Hey, Josh, guess what my wife made yesterday for dinner.
Pumpkin spice something.
And I'm going to tell you this just because I know she's watching.
I know she's been commenting like
chili.
crazy.
Aaron made that. I got home from Florida and Aaron made it over the weekend. It was wonderful. It was so good.
Oh my God.
Football and chili in the fall? You bet.
Yeah, but it was like 65 degrees was the low yesterday. But
it doesn't really feel like chilly weather to me, but
but you don't wear Uggs, do you?
He probably does.
No, I do not.
Tersh has quite the shoe collection.
He does. That's why I asked.
No, absolutely not.
All
right, guys. Where can people find you? Where so if is Refrog and Upfrog same thing? Can we get to the platform by going to Upfrog?
You can get there on upfrog.io. You can message us directly. You can find us in our Facebook group. We will be more active in there. Or you can just simply go to get.upfrog.io. That's going to be able to, lead you right into it as well.
I got one more question before we close out, because I just saw it came in like a minute ago from it says Facebook user on here, but it's Cody Johnson. And it's an important one because some of this goes into compliance. Some of it's kind of a gray area because if a customer just did business with you, that sort of stuff. So does the customer need to opt in to the text campaign?
Great, really interesting question. So if it is an existing customer, and it depending on each state, because some states are different than others, there's a length of time that you have to communicate with this customer, specifically California. They're very
Is that the same as the calling them? Because I think it's 18 months after to call them. Is that?
I know when we used to work with a large box store, they tried to do 6 months. Just to be safe, because there's so much uncertainty around there. Okay.
Wow.
Now I can tell you that every lead that we have in the platform that we get from consumers, like if we run an Upfrog program, we want to reactivate them, they always opt in 100%. And the easiest way to try and obey by the spirit of the law, even if you don't know whether they've opted in or exactly when the date was, make sure you send them messages and data rates may apply. You can stop at any time. Okay. Start sending the compliance stuff to them up front, because I can tell you that the fines that come from doing it illegally, ungodly amounts. I mean, it's it's really, really, really bad.
Can I threaten that with people who won't stop texting me?
Actually, you actually can.
I have people who will not stop. They keep I don't want your financing. Stop sending it to me. I know I'm a small business owner. Thanks for telling me.
Boy, the phone calls that I get from those people all the time. Oh, the amount of funding. I bet I could stack up millions each day by the phone calls I get. I don't know how I got on their list. It's crazy.
You'll never have to pay for another car repair either. Your warranty lasts 30 years.
Warranty, I know. But yeah, opting in is very important in the degree of, if you're not sure, okay, make sure at a very minimum you're letting people know how they can unsubscribe from your list.
That's a great point to end with on the compliance part. So existing customers, so check with your state laws.
Yeah,
it's to be safe is kind
of. Would you know that if they ask you that, if you had a client that asked you, would you be confident in being able to tell them that information, or would they still need to go find a local attorney to do that?
We're not lawyers. When they sign up with us, they we're not legal counsel. We don't pretend to be. We go into the assumption, just like most of all your major platforms like Twilio and Klaviyo and all the big mailing platforms and all those, that the list was gained in a legal manner.
Oh, that's a good point.
But we're going to know, look, we limit people. We have a throttling. Like if we launch a campaign and we see that somebody's got a bunch of junk in there, and it's easy to tell right away, like if it's a bot list or not. And when you know that it's a bot list, it will show up and we will actually shut your account down. You get 3 strikes. Okay. So there's safety measures, because I'm not going to risk my compliance with somebody going out there and just scraping phone numbers. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. Well, I appreciate it. Noah, next time, don't talk so much.
I Oh no.
He's the brains, he's the one back in the keeping the operation steady,
I know. I'm just giving Noah.
He's
a
probably
hard time.
selling something while you're just talking.
He probably is. He's probably talking and working with a client right now as we speak.
I actually was a little bit. Okay.
I know you were.
I saw you working.
You mentioned
All right.
TikTok. It's top of the mind right now, so that was why I had to communicate a little bit.
That's funny.
Thanks. I see the comment.
Before we close up today, I want to ask you one last question. Okay, y'all ready for this?
Here we go.
Oh boy.
What is something that everyone looks stupid doing?
Podcast.
No? Podcast.
Good answer. Thanks. Hey,
No,
Justin, next time he's not invited.
You know what my thing is? When people are talking with their phone right here on speakerphone, like right up against their face.
That's the
I'm like,
worst.
Just take it off.
And
the
they're really
speakerphone
loud.
and
Like you can hear the conversation through the speaker and hear them talking. It's like, are you serious right now? I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear what you're making for dinner.
Dog poop with a bag. I know it's kind of
that
a wild
is so
answer,
true.
but they all look like a fool when you're doing it. I'm sorry. It's just a thing.
And
I
you
have to
feel
do
like
that
a
here. I didn't have to
fool.
do that in Wisconsin, so it sucks.
Yeah, you feel like
You
a
got to do
fool,
it there,
too.
right?
I do. Otherwise, it stinks.
Yeah, I guess it does get so sweet.
What about you, Noah? You got anything?
I would say everybody looks stupid when they can't control their dog. There you go. There's a good one. It's always the worst. Whenever you're at the dog
When the
park,
dog's going nuts
the
and you're
person
trying to.
just going absolutely insane, and they're
Yeah,
always just
Sometimes you
embarrassed,
just got
her,
that
man.
dog. That dog, like
instantly making excuses.
sometimes it's the dog. Sometimes you're just like,
Uh,
when he gets back home, we're gonna have a conversation.
It's hard to control those little 3-pound dogs you got right there. No.
for me, they perform well, but others not so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Absolutely, guys. Thank y'all so much. And thank you for everybody who's watching this episode or listening to this episode. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to these guys. What's the name of your Facebook group again?
HVAC Digital Allies.
Okay,
And or just message me on Facebook. Send me a direct message. Everybody's probably on Facebook. I'm there. Happy to talk with anybody.
Cool. I appreciate you guys. We'll talk again soon. See you.
Back at you. See y'all. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.